to another episode of the Joy of Being You podcast. In this episode, I'm sharing the second part of my story. If you haven't yet listened to the first part, Coming Home to Myself, Eva Nagy's healing journey, it was released last month and it is available on most major podcast platforms. Make sure you listen to it before you listen to this one. In the first part, my friend and coaching partner Tiffany Snipes interviewed me about what pushed me into my healing journey and how learning the truth about myself changed everything in my life. That chapter of my life was about awakening, grief, resentment, and a lot of letting go. It was also about understanding my old patterns, dynamics, and finding peace with my story. But the journey did not end there. Losing my mom brought me to my knees. And from that place of grief, everything changed for me. In part 2, I share how I moved through loss and how I rebuilt my life in just over a year by making a conscious choice to move forward. I moved cross country, I started a new job, and I'm creating a new community, not as the person who I used to be, but the person who I became as a result of my healing work. This episode is about integration. It's about creating a new life with intention and self-awareness and choosing to move forward even when life breaks you open. A little over a year ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be at the place I am right now. If you want to hear more about my story, listen to the full episode. Without further ado, the moment when I said, okay, all right, so I'm going to look forward, fine, with this attitude, like not really knowing what I'm doing, but forcing myself to, hey, this cannot be this way anymore. You deserve better. I know you're a good human being. You can't live your life like this. I mean, this was literally what I was telling myself. And I turned my head and I said, okay, what do you want? What do you want? And I started writing my journal. I want to have relationships that are mutual, and I want to have a job where I feel valued, and I want to have a job where I actually do things in alignment with my skills. And I had no idea how that's going to work out, but I was like, this is what I want. Am I happy where I live? I'm happy, but I can be happier. And I never felt that New York was home for me because I ran away from home to New York. I never chose New York. So I was sitting there 45 years old and I'm like, how many times have I changed my life? I moved from Hungary. I changed jobs. I got divorced. I moved out to the suburbs. I mean, how many times I've changed lives? I cannot make another change. I don't want to.
I feel like that image of you, those pillars like crumbling, it's like every time you've had those big moments, it's like there's another crumble and then you're starting from scratch again.
Another loss. If people are looking at my life from the outside, they're like, girl, what is wrong with you? What is happening? Well, you know what? This is a big of a lie I lived. This is what's happening. I lived in a complete lie and I had to like changes. And that just doesn't look pretty. It looks horrible from the outside. And it feels really bad from the inside too, right? Because you're standing there like, oh my gosh, another one? And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to pack up and I'm going to move. And I was like, oh, all right. But I don't like being here, right? I love Bloomfield, but I'm isolated here. Was considering moving back home, and then considering all the things that I put down in my journal. I was like, I'm not getting all the things I want here. So then I was like, what do I do? And I started looking at cities. I'm like, okay, do I go to DC? I like DC. Do I go to Philadelphia? Because if I go to Philadelphia, maybe I still can see my people in New York, because I still have friends and I love them. And then so I started thinking, I was like, what do I do? And I was looking at these cities all over the States. And I was just like, okay, you have 2 friends who live in LA and you love LA. I remember the first time I went to LA, it was like somewhere along 2010, 2011. I didn't even step out of the airport and I was like, I am home. And then I basically decided to move to LA. I gave up my apartment and did the cross country drive. And when I moved, I mean, I packed my stuff, put everything in storage. I mean, it was insane that I was doing this again, starting over again. I could not believe myself doing it, but I was like, you know what? I was so desperate to just try to feel better. I just wanted to try to feel better. What if I make this decision for myself? What if I just do this for me and then see what happens? I don't know what's going to happen, but what if it works? What can I lose? And I said, you know what? If I don't like it, I move back to Hungary in 2 years. What did I lose? I lost another 2 years of my life, spent a lot of money on the move. Big deal. Least I can do, right? So, but there was one thing that I promised while I was doing this move. And I said, I am going to do this cross country drive. And when I'm doing this cross country drive, I am going to close the past. Done. Done. I'm not going back. I'm not looking at it, just like I said in the beginning of the podcast, right? I'm not going to analyze it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm going to look forward and I'm going to start thinking about what I want. And then so I'm in this very uncertain emotional state. There was a lot of uncertainty in my life, looking for a job, starting a life over, finding my footings, meeting people, creating a new community. All of that when you're like not even really truly feeling great yet, you're like trying to feel good. You're trying to move through this something and you're trying to look forward and you're trying to make the decisions that could be good to you, but you don't know if it is yet. Right. And then and this time we already knew each other. We were doing the coaching. You remembered when I decided to make the move.
Like, girl, you're brave. Like that's the theme here. You've got a lot of courage. But anyway, continue.
And so I just said, I'm not looking back to the past. And the other thing I said that I am not going to compromise. I am done compromising. What I want is what I want. And that's it. And even if nobody likes it, and even if I'm going to stay by myself the rest of my life, then that's how that's going to be. Like I took a risk to say that I will lose everything again.
Yeah.
And because I also felt like I really didn't have anything to lose at that point, right? Difference between this move and the difference between the move that I did from Hungary to New York and from New York to LA. One was blind and full of emotions and feelings that she was not even aware of. This girl came to New York and didn't even know how to say no. I mean, I just want to hug her and I just want to hold her. Because that is really sad.
Yeah.
And this woman, 25 years later, knew who she is, knew what she wanted, didn't know how to do it. But she tried.
Yeah.
So I was blind when I came to New York and my eyes were open when I came to LA. And so my life started changing. I mean, I spent hours in meditation and journaling and I got into Dr. Joe's work. I don't follow his work, but at that time it really helped me to put me on the path. And eventually I said, I need to do my own thing because I also had my awakening and I also have my intuition and I also have my own path. And I need to follow that path and I need to honor that path because I wanted to embody me. I really wanted to embody my experience. I really wanted to fully feel comfortable being who I am and not follow something else, but follow what feels right for me from within, right? So eventually I got a job, I got my apartment. In the meantime, I started a podcast. I was doing the, the meditations. I got this idea of doing a podcast of the joy of being you, which is, I feel like the purpose of being alive is being us as we are. And being joyful with it, completely embracing it so much that we are just in our own sparkle and live from shining from within. But I was blindfolded. You remember we had conversations and I was like, I don't know what I want to do with this. Is this the path I want to take? Is this the path? Because I also felt that after my awakening, I needed to share my journey. I didn't know how because I had to be where I am right now. And I never thought I would ever be where I am right now. I never thought that I would ever be able to tell you my story the way I'm talking about it.
I do wonder if you were to sum up what has changed, and I'm going to throw something out there to react to. It sounds like through your journey, you have started to listen to yourself more, love yourself more, and also learn to trust your instincts, your intuition,
Oh, yeah.
and that the trust in you really led to where you are today.
Mhm.
Without that, without listening to your beliefs, your values, what you feel is important, I don't know that you'd be here doing this
Oh, no, no.
podcast.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere. I would be at the same place I was before, which was some unhappy relationship, unhappy job. I would be blaming everything on other people, and I wouldn't understand how much power I have over my life. And I would feel like a victim of my own life because that's where I was. And that's what I
Uh-huh.
was. At that point, I believed in it, but it wasn't a conscious belief, right?
Right.
I just lived with these subconscious patterns. And
Uh-huh.
so the thing is that it's a really good question because no, I wouldn't be here during my healing journey. I think that I mentioned this before. I had times when I cursed my healing journey. I was like, "What is this? This is
Why the hell am I going through
horrific.
this?
Like,
Yeah.
why am I
Why
doing
me?
like, and why would I actually try to coach somebody to go through this? In
Mm,
my coaching, I don't focus on the past.
yeah.
Most people actually get stuck there, like I was.
Mm,
I was stuck there for so many years. I want to focus on the future. The healing work allowed me to understand myself in such a depth
uh,
to see through myself. But you know what is really amazing about that? The more you know of you, the more you know of everything. Because now
mm,
you are not just going to see your own patterns, you're going to see other people's patterns. And how you're going to respond to their patterns is going to be different. When I wrote my book, The Weight Loss Through the Soul, it was kind of my healing journey, and I tried to with using this guidance, the intuitive guidance, I tried to put it in order. What do we have to go through to find this liberation? And then the end of the book, oh yeah, you have the book. And the end of the book, the last part of the book, when you start living from this joyful place, you're at peace with life, you're at peace with yourself. I had this image in my head, and that was my anchor during my healing. It's becoming this tree that is
mm,
so strong in the trunk, in the core, that no matter what comes, it's still standing. And I imagine myself becoming so strong from the inside, so strong in being myself, that no matter what hits me in life, I will stand strong. Because I
mhm.
used to collapse.
Yeah.
Every single time something happened in my life, I used to collapse, and I do not collapse. Still cry about losing my mom. I'm human. I go through my emotions. I get angry, and I'm present. I'm present with those. I allow those to happen. I
Mhm,
think that all of this is part of the life.
mhm,
I can hold space for the negative stuff in life that is it doesn't bother me so much anymore. I just
mm,
accept it that it's part of it.
yeah. I think it's helpful to give analogies to how you see things because yeah, you think of an oak tree and its roots are really deep and it lives like, I don't know, I'm not a botanist or anything, but lives long, and it's strong. And so because its roots are deep and its trunk is strong, it can keep on growing higher and higher, and its limbs get bigger and it can be more spread out, but it's resilient.
It
It
is
can withstand the weather. It can withstand
the
lots of
storm. Yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah,
And so I love the imagery of a tree because I think that's what resilience is. And it's not to say that there aren't going to be storms. It's only going to be a bright, beautiful day.
yeah,
You can't avoid that stuff. But what you can do is you can have the resilience, the tenacity to withstand
yeah.
those events.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that that's the really important part of healing too. I think healing is not about pretending that there's no pain. Even thinking positively and doing the positive psychology coaching, we are not trying to, and we are not even trying. But what we are not doing is we are not diminishing the negative experiences. For
mhm,
example, now if I look at my own life, the way I try to look at it, it's not how bad it was, but what I've gained.
Mm.
and what I've gained through that experience. Because if I change my perception of how I look at the past, I give a different meaning to my present.
Mm. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all those shifting your mindset to see things differently.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like the experience is, you can't change the history, but how you
Mm.
look at it and how you decide to use the experience for your advantage and be selfish enough to use it for your own advantage. You know what I mean? Say that, you know what, like this was hard, but what did I get out of it? Let me use
Mhm.
that to fuel me. Let me use that to move forward. Let me use that to make it purposeful. Because other than if it's not, then what was the point?
When I want to switch something, you said selfish. I don't think it's selfish. I think it kind of is self-compassionate. It's acknowledging what was,
Yeah.
but also saying I don't want to get stuck there.
Mhm.
I want to look at this and I want something different. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm going to feel these things, not ignore them, but I'm going to get to the other side.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
So, I want to just circle back to a question. What do you say, would you say your most valuable lessons were during this whole period? Like if you were to sum it up into maybe 2 to 3,
2 to 3?
no more. Mhm.
Okay, most valuable lessons. During the entire healing journey. The
Mhm.
the 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 past 47 years, right?
Absolutely, your whole life. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stick to 3. Hold on. Let me most valuable lesson. Until I know who I am, something outside of me is driving my life.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, until I become self-aware and I understand who I am, somebody outside of me is driving or something outside is driving my life. I'm not holding the wheel. I'm not in control. And that's a huge lesson for me. And that was not just the healing journey and becoming self-aware part, but also learning to love myself. And I think that
Mhm.
maybe I would say loving myself is the base for everything because in order for me to create a life that it is in alignment and feels at peace, like, when we don't feel at peace, when we feel this conflict inside, when we do
Mhm.
something against who we are, we start feeling this tension, this conflict, and there's no peace, right? It doesn't feel good. It feels like,
Mhm.
resentful and angry and tense and just uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, right? So to
Yeah.
me, living this congruent life, it's only possible with the self knowledge and also the self love. And the self love is accepting who I am and what I need and what I want and what I desire,
Mhm.
and accepting it so much that I can make choices in alignment with that, right?
Mhm.
So I said self-awareness. I said self-love. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of lessons though.
Mm.
Um,
That's why I'm making you
I
choose
know,
the
I
top.
know.
It's hard.
And I think that the next one is it has to be a point during the healing journey when we start looking forward. And we have to
Mm.
make that decision when that point is. Or life is gonna make it for us like it did for me. But I really do hope that people don't have to go through the experience I had to finally start looking forward. Healing is one thing, integration is another thing.
Mm.
You got to know who you are and now you need to integrate it. But the integration part is that you got to start looking forward and you have to
Yeah.
know where you're going. So I think that those are the top 3. The top 3 lessons that I don't think that I would be where I am without understanding and
Mhm.
embodying those.
Yeah. I love that. So just to recap, self-awareness, self-love, and forward thinking
Yeah.
or
Forward thinking,
forward
yeah. moving forward.
Visualizing, whatever.
Yeah, moving forward. Yeah. Moving forward. Not analyzing the past, not staying in the past, not focusing on the past, but like moving forward to create what you want in alignment with who you are now.
And none of this work is for the faint of heart. It's not easy. It's constant working toward it. It's work.
Yeah, and you
It is
have
work.
attachments. And once again, my story, I had to literally let go of every single part of my life.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised sometimes that I'm still here. That's insane. I'm like, the second half of my life have to be like something absolutely amazing to make up for all of that. But I hope you do hear me, universe, by the way. Now you can hear me.
Now listen, because I want you to help me manifest this.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, with the mention of the word forward, I want to talk about the present.
Okay.
And kind of shift out of the shift and talk about now. So, what would you say your life looks like now compared to what it was before?
I don't live for validation. I think that that's the biggest thing, I say no a lot. When I feel that something doesn't fit, doesn't feel good, I just let it go very easily. I don't feel this sense of emptiness. I had anxiety and panic attacks, and I was constantly stressed and frustrated and angry and uncomfortable and resentful. And my feelings are not like that. I'm at peace. And I laugh a lot. I laugh even when I shouldn't, but I just think I think that life is just sometimes I just get to the point that it's just play. How do you show up? I laugh at myself a lot. And I just I don't really take things as seriously as I used to.
Yeah.
And I am at the driver's seat of my life. I really do feel that way.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said when I first asked the question. You said that you use the word no a lot. And I just want to point out a couple of things. One, that is completely you choosing yourself and showing yourself self-compassion. So people that don't believe that and who are listening in probably should consider how that can be true. And it's also a boundary. And I love this quote, Pema Chodron. I think I'm hoping I'm not butchering her name or anything, but she says boundaries are the distance for which I can love you and me simultaneously. So it is really an act of love for yourself and for the other person, because otherwise you will grow resentful. You will grow angry if you give too much. And so I love that you mentioned that, because it's really you embodying that self-compassion and then that self-awareness too. Like, what is important to me? What do I need? And then you talking about the forward theme that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Besides relationships, is there anything else you would say has changed for you? What else would you say is important to kind of talk about your present self?
I mean, everything. Like, my entire life is different. I'm not the same person. And this is a completely different person that sits here that I was 5 years ago, or even I was 2 years ago, or since you know me, maybe even since you know me. I think that when we met, I carried a lot of uncertainty, and and I was just really like this in this no man's land for a very long time, and I was very uncertain about myself and my life, and then I had a lot of trauma, like with, losing my mom and everything. So that's just going back like a year or 2 years, right? So I mean, I don't even know how many versions of myself I've had in the past, 47 years. Um, what has changed? I mean, just the way I live my life, the things I focus on, where my mind is. Um, I feel more hopeful. I feel full and whole. Even if I don't have everything, there are certain things in my life I still want to work on and manifest. But I'm getting there. I think it's a process. So I'm not saying like my life is like, oh my gosh, so perfect. But I'm in a much, much better place that I have ever been. And I actually never thought I would ever be here.
Yeah.
Never thought in a million years that I would somehow miraculously just be at a place where I can finally look back and not feel the past in this present moment. I used to not be able to turn my head forward. Now I have to look back to see it, and I choose not to. So as much as I can.
I think part of looking back, and correct me if I'm wrong, for you, is you get to see how far you've come. And it's like, wow.
Now I can look at my journey that way, but this is the first time. I couldn't do it before. I wasn't proud. I was actually I used to feel so ashamed. I had this awakening, and I felt like I needed to write a book, and I published my book in 2019, and I just felt I still felt so much shame of my journey, and I also felt so stressed about voicing my thoughts and my feelings. I remember I couldn't sleep for 5 years because I felt like I had to write this book. And I started writing it. I was writing it for 5 years. I was going through my healing, and I just kept adding stuff to it, right? And I constantly got thoughts in the middle of the night. I was processing things. I mean, it was insane. And as soon as I had the draft, all of that was gone. I left the book behind, but for whatever reason, I had to write that down. So yeah. Yeah.
We talked a lot about your journey. What would you say that you're most proud of, or that you want to celebrate the most,
Oh, Jesus.
being where you are looking
I
back?
ask these questions from people. I asked these questions from my guest.
So you're prepared for it.
Yeah. That's what you think. But when you're in a hot seat, it's it's a lot different. So what am I the most proud of? And I have to pick one thing, right? What am I the most proud of? I kind of thought that I had my answer, but I just let things come to me. I don't want to. I just want to. I want to come from this moment. What am I most proud of? I mean, what comes to me? It's literally like I am so proud of being where I am. I just, as I said, I keep saying that I just never thought. I never thought I would ever be in this place. And I am so, God, yes, I don't know what kept me going. Yeah. I'm just and I'm happy. I'm happy, and I hope it's not gonna change. I'm like, God, please don't give me another curveball.
Well,
because I'm
it
gonna
is
be tested
life,
again.
but hopefully it's a curveball that's a little bit easier to hit.
Yeah. Hopefully. I'm gonna be tested. But I am going to apply what I know, the best of my knowledge. And I'm not going to be tested in a way that I am in this test blindfolded. But I'm going to be tested with my eyes open, with the tools I have, and I will make the best of it. And I will always the only thing that I will be able to do at any part of my life is make the best of it. That's all. That's all I have. That's all I got. And that's what I will do.
So I feel like you just answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway in case it spurs any other thinking. Literally, I think you just answered it. How have the lessons you've learned influenced how you approach life now? So I feel like you just answered that, but maybe there's some other things that might come to you that can help others.
Yeah, I think that the what you're saying is correct. So it's accepting life for what is. That it doesn't have to it doesn't it's not supposed to be like all fluffy and shiny and great. I think it's just everything is part of life. But I think that there's another one that even when we don't think things are possible, they are. I think that there's more possible that we can possibly think it's possible.
I love that.
I really twisted that.
You know what's interesting? I have this one a day calendar from Adam Grant, and literally what we are talking about right this second, from October 15th, because that's the last time I pulled the little one
I don't
sheet.
have the calendar, I promise.
So Adam Grant, I absolutely love him. He says adversity can break us down, but it can also build us up. Many people emerge from hardships with a renewed sense of strength, gratitude, connection, possibility, and purpose. Never underestimate the resilience of the human spirit. And I'm not even making this up. Like, literally, I haven't taken the 16th of October off of my little
Love
calendar.
it.
And it was just sitting there. And I happened to look over as you were talking. And I'm like, I have to share this because I think it just really sums up all of what you were just talking about.
Yeah. I think that when we are lost in the pain and in the hardship, we can't see through it. When I was doing my final exam in my Kundalini yoga training, somebody at the end of the class asked, "What is infinity, and how do you explain infinity?" Right? And I saw an image with a brain, and what I felt like infinity is everything outside of everything we know. And
So
because that's everything that's unknown, it doesn't have limits. We have limitations of our knowledge. We have limitations of the known. It's limited to our experiences. I mean, I don't even want to kind of analyze what it's limited to, but everything that we know, it's limited. But everything that we don't know, it's unlimited. It's infinite. And the reason why I say this, because when we are in the pain, we can only think with our limited mind. Our mind has limitations. And we can't think of something that has never happened. We will not think of things that we have never experienced before. So we are in this limited space and we are sitting in our pain, and which is also limits us to that experience. So I think that if somebody is in pain, it's really, really important to remember that our experience, which feels limited, is just an experience. And it's not more than that.
Oh my gosh.
That there is something else, outside that we don't know. That we don't know. This is in a total, we are blindfolded to what could happen and how things can change and how things can evolve and what positives can grow out of a bad experience. We are completely blindfolded. And I think that just being able to hold space for the experience and know that we can't see everything and go through it with that presence and self-awareness and direction
and trust
yes, that opens doors and different possibilities that we didn't know of. So like usually when we get out of hardships, it doesn't happen the way that we thought we are going to. It's going to happen in a way that we had absolutely no clue. Like it's going to be it's going to be a new experience, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's important to keep in mind. And maybe this is like another lesson I learned.
I know you mentioned, just have a couple questions left. And then of course, anything else you want to share.
Is it the last three? Are we doing the last three questions?
Yes, but I think you already answered one of them. You just literally did. What about you talked about the little girl that you would go back and hug. So what advice would you give her, your past self, who was
Oh,
struggling at the
geez.
time? What would you tell her? I know you said you'd hug her.
No, I would tell her that I love her and
Oh.
she's okay.
Mm. Gosh, that's so succinct. I love it.
I would tell her that there's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Mm.
That's what I would say.
So extending that outside of yourself, what would you tell someone who's going through a similar situation? Maybe not the same, but going through the grief, maybe despair, the frustration, the anger, you know, insert whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them?
I would say trust yourself and trust the journey.
Mm.
I Gosh, if I trusted myself and I trusted the journey, I would have gone through it much faster and it wouldn't have been
Mhm.
so painful because I wouldn't fight it. I was fighting my journey because there was so much letting go. There was so much stuff. It's so hard.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to. My life, the way I knew it, was my security and safety. I created that life because that was my survival, and I had to let go of my survival, and I had to let go of parts of my life that didn't work anymore. So, if I trusted and I wanted to hold on, I wanted to
Mm.
hold. I was
Because that was less scary than what you didn't know. All the
and
You're talking about
yes,
infinity,
yes,
all
yeah,
those
and
things you don't know.
yeah, and trust, the thing, and also when you go through, trust is also important, not just in yourself. So, like, when you go through life and life is really hard, then you stop trusting life, and you stop
Mm.
trusting, like, you can call the universe, the God, higher power, whatever it is, like something outside that, like, am I being supported? And for a long time, I looked at life that I didn't trust life. I'm like, life doesn't want good for me, and then eventually I learned that as I was going through my healing, like, I was saved so many times. It is absolutely unbelievable. If I would tell you the stories how I got saved every single time I was in like a tough spot, you would be like, wow. And when you can look at your life, see not just the bad things, but as you go through the hard stuff and you trust yourself and you trust the journey and you start seeing the good stuff in between, that can be give you comfort. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But I think it's
Yeah.
important to be able to see the good stuff too, not just the hardship. So trust
Mhm.
yourself, trust the journey, see you can trust life no matter how hard it is. And if you have to grasp on something, grasp on that trust. you know?
Mhm. And I feel like you said gratitude there too, like grateful for the good things that happen,
Oh
even if it's
yeah.
like, I have this wonderful cup of coffee.
Oh
I
yeah.
heard a funny joke on, the radio, if anybody listens to radio or TV or whatever. Like, it's sometimes those little things that you're talking about that you hang on to that are like, this was good today. I needed that.
Yeah, and honestly, looking back to my journey, the things that it was really, really hard to let go, I would I like them to be in my life? Like the things, like I talked, situations,
Mm.
people, whatever. Some yes, but most not.
Mm.
Um, so did I really lose something? Or did I just have something in my life that didn't belong to me ever? Which one is it?
The latter.
Yeah, I mean, now, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Well, what else do you feel like you'd want to share to someone or anyone on this podcast?
Yeah, as a last thought, I think I just kind of want to sum up um,
Mm-hmm.
the important lessons I learned during my healing journey. So if somebody's going through a tough spot, and the thing is, I'm talking to people who are on the healing journey. Like this podcast is all about inspiring women who are going through a hard time. maybe helping them to give them like different guidance or ideas that they might be able to use and help them. I'm not saying that they should, or I would, but I'm saying like if something sparks, these women during these conversations and they can use something, I would probably say to consider it, right? If they feel that it's the right thing for them. So I would say that if the listeners are in a midst of a healing journey and they have been on this journey for a while and they are waiting for change and shift, I'm just going to say don't wait, because it's going to be up to you. So the beauty of the healing journey, and that is the reason why we are doing it, that we can now take control of our lives. We do have that self-awareness, so we can take the next step using that. What do we want? What do we need? What do we desire? And we can move towards that direction, that vision, consciously, intentionally. That is literally what integration is. Well, the thing is that the motivation changes, right? Because when you take action and you're a pleaser, you want validation. That's your motivation. You actually gain energy through that. That's what drives you forward. You constantly want validation, and that drives your actions forward and moves you forward, right? When that falls away, what fools you? Whatever fuels your actions is not going to come from the outside. It has to come from within. And I was waiting in this period in my life. I was in this pause, and I was just kind of like waiting for something to happen. Now this is my time to make it happen. This is not a waiting game. So if you're on the healing journey, do not wait. Integrate. Don't wait. Integrate. Integrate your knowledge. Start taking the next step in alignment with everything you learned about yourself and start moving forward. That's one of the most valuable lessons I learned in the past, I guess, probably year and a half, while I was going through this period of time when I went from a complete breakdown, and there was nothing else besides not existing from that, where I was, to where I am today.
Yeah. And so just to sum up what I heard, you talked about self-awareness again. That is so critical and so important. And the beauty of self-awareness is that you get to know what's important to you. And then from that place, you can be motivated intrinsically or internally and not look for things from the outside, what other people want for you or what they want for themselves, or whatever it is. And so you're really in the driver's seat. Once again, to use your analogy, you're in the driver's seat taking charge of what you want. And that's the thing that's fueling you forward.
Yeah. Your decision fuels you forward. Like at this point, my decision fuels me forward. There's nothing else. My vision, my decision, what I want, that's the fuel of my action. And it feels different. It's not the same. And it's confusing. It's disorienting. Because when you feel, like in my relationships, when I feel attached, like for example, in relationships with men, that the type of like the need for validation, it's very exciting.
Seductive.
It's but it's when you don't feel that anymore, it seems interesting.
Empty maybe?
It's like a void, like because you don't feel the same feelings, like you connect on a different level. Like I connect to a man, woman, like people in general, through like communication, like like really connecting, right?
Right.
Not just like, oh, I want validation, like, oh, I'm doing the thing, and that's kind of like pulls him in and pulls me in, and like it's so sparkly and everything. Like that's a very different feeling. But I think that the point is that you're at the driver's seat, and you're in control, and it's up to you.
Yeah.
And it's up to, and don't be afraid of making bold decisions, because it's gonna feel bold. It's not gonna be like it was before. It should feel bold. It should take courage. If it doesn't, if you don't have to gather all your courage to make the next decision, then you're making the same decision that you did last year or yesterday. It's not going to be different. You will need all your courage. It's going to be hard. And just be ready for it. And it's okay. Hard doesn't mean it's bad. Hard means that you're going into the unknown. And you're doing something different from what you have done before. That's all.
I love that. Wow. There's so many gems. I hope people are taking notes, or because there's so much that's good that you've shared, and so much vulnerability and courage, your word of the year, that you have demonstrated in sharing your story. And I know that it's going to help other people out.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. By the way, you're an amazing interviewer. You should start a podcast on for yourself. Maybe we can do a podcast together. I don't know.
Ooh, that'll be fun. I'll have to think about like what it is that I want to do. I mean, actually I have some ideas, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Maybe you should come on as a guest one time. We'll talk about it. But thank you so much. Goodness. I am going to be sharing this podcast as two podcasts, not one. So part one and part two. So when somebody's listening to this at the end, you're already at part two. So thank you so much for listening to this over 2 hours story of mine. Thank you so much for your time, for holding space for me, for asking a question, for allowing me to dig deeper and allowing me to share what I shared. I really, really appreciate it. It was awesome. And I'm so glad that I got this out of myself. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a journey, and it's nice to talk about my life from a positive perspective and what I've learned, not being deep into the pain and just sharing the pain. So I'm just very, very happy that I could share this story, and I do hope that it is inspiring and it is helpful for someone who is going through a hard time, someone who is in the midst of that pain, someone who wants better and wants change and been working on themselves for a very long time, and they feel that it's time. So I do hope that it helps you. And I also just want to say that, and I'm creating a beta course in 2026. I will share information on my newsletter, on my social media. So if you haven't yet, do subscribe to the podcast. Follow me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are. And also sign up for my newsletter so you get the latest updates into your inbox, and you will be, notified when this course starts. It's going to be limited, so make sure to keep an eye out for it. I guess that's it for today. Once again, thanks again, Tiffany, for being here, and thanks for everyone for listening to the Joy of Being You podcast. I will connect with you soon.